Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is Monday night. It is time for Revolutionary Change. I'm Jen Perelman.
I'm Peter Hager, and I'm not wearing a keffiyeh, but yours looks mighty fine.
Thank you. This is my something borrowed keffiyeh.
From who?
Well, this one's Rachel's.
Oh,
keffiyeh.
okay. Okay, well, that works out fine.
Yeah.
How are you enjoying this? Well, it wasn't a day off for me, but I would call it a light day, is what I would call it today. Days like today.
To me, it's any other Monday. Makes
Any
no
other
difference
Monday, eh?
whatsoever.
Well, I guess we didn't hear from Chase Iron Eyes. Otherwise, we would have loved to have had him this evening. We're supposed to have a guest this evening. What was her name one more time?
Kiara. And she will be coming on in February.
Sure. And guys, make sure you smash that like button. As you can imagine, the channel is still getting heavily suppressed, although thankfully in just over a week's time, we'll knock on wood, assuming we're still live in a week's time, we will have our first copyright strike removed. So hopefully that will open up at least somewhat of the suppression that this channel has been under heavily.
Until the next copyright strike.
Yeah, well, they'll always come up with something, just like they decided to wait 2 days after the live stream to declare that we couldn't be monetized for the stream on Saturday. Let me tell you, people go through our live streams with a fine-tooth comb to see if they can find anything they can to throw at us and say, hey, see what they're doing? Shut them down. But you know what?
We have to be extra careful.
That's true. But to me, I see it as a badge of honor. I see that as we clearly are doing something right. If we weren't doing something right, then they wouldn't be coming after us. As I said a long time ago, our channel is small, but it's mighty.
Oh, we're mighty.
Some type of an impact because, the way the people talk about us and shit. And even something as simple as what happened with Aziz al-Shahir, who wore the eye black the other day saying, stop the genocide. And we ended up putting out a tweet because I really don't tweet much anymore. I only do it if it's absolutely necessary. And I decided to put it out there when it was announced, and it's gotten a lot of traction. But even the Zios really live in this alternate universe. Like they really do. They're really convinced in their mind that they're right, and the rest of the world is insane. It's not them. It's us. We're the ones with the problem.
It's narcissism at its truest, group form. It's narcissism. Zionists are just like the ultimate narcissists,
Well, how do you know
it's everyone else is the problem.
Well, how do you know if you're in a Zionist's house? There's no mirrors.
There's no mirrors.
I just thought of that on the fly. I thought it worked.
But I don't get that. What do you mean there's no mirrors?
They never look in the mirror. They can't,
okay. Yeah.
Get it?
No, it's not a good joke.
Hey, like I said, I just thought of it on the fly. What am I supposed to do? I cannot for the life of me understand what is happening right now, but it was, as Travers is saying, Greenland was part of a greater Israel project. Bless you. I would say that, considering that today is technically an off day, granted we don't get
who's off?
Well, that's the point. It's like, okay, Martin Luther King Day for now, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. Martin Luther King Day is technically a federal holiday. And normally on federal holidays, things tend to be a little quiet, but they were not quiet today. And the President of the United States, for whatever reason, as you mentioned, he is heading to Davos for the third consecutive year. This is the President of the United States.
Well, no, this is the third time he will be attending Davos as a sitting president. This is the first time I believe this term. But point being that most of the time sitting presidents don't attend Davos and command an audience like he is doing.
Well, considering the backdrop of what's happening right now and the audacity that he's displaying when it comes to Greenland, it certainly would appear that he is really trying his damn best to, at a minimum, start a trade war, and at worst, start some type of a world war. Greenland is a very important piece of real estate that is not under our control, but we are so desperate to get it under our control because the hegemony of the US dollar is at some point in the not too distant future going to be going away. Now, is it going to happen tomorrow? Is it going to happen a year or two from now? Maybe, maybe not. Is it going to happen within the next decade? I would say that that's very, very likely. And so what the empire is attempting to do is fortify its positions, even at the expense of several NATO nations, even though I would be the first to say that NATO shouldn't even exist.
Well, right. There's that. So when we talk about that, it's, it's definitely don't threaten us with a good time. I don't mind the dismantling of NATO. I think it needed to be done a long time ago. So I see that as a bonus, but it is very ridiculous when Trump says things like, if we have to get it because we have to keep it from China and Russia. Well, there's something that does that that's called NATO. The whole existence of NATO is that protection against China and Russia.
Yeah, but there's no real protection. So we totally have to take it into our own hands. That's what we have to do. It's a really great idea. And I'm full of great ideas, including this great idea. This is me as a Viking in AI. You're going to love it. It's really great.
My dear Vikings, penguins, and all the great people of Greenland. This is your new war chief, Donaldson Trump Polson.
Oh, who did this?
We will make Greenland green again. All the Legos you want to play, all the battle axes you want to sharpen, and cool, horny helmets for everybody. Except the Mexicans. This is going to be a great Valhalla. We will make Valhalla great again. We will not let the Russians or the Chinese or the Mexicans take over this land, this beautiful land, this green land.
This green land.
This really green land. It's green under all that ice, but it's really great. What is with the Mexicans, I think is the big
I don't understand this. I don't know why I don't remember, I don't know what this video is about.
So I'm assuming that this is like some type of a joke, and which
well,
is fun.
Obviously it's AI joke. Yeah. And it's piecing together things that he has said. That's how ridiculous he is. You don't even need to make stuff up for him in terms of the audio.
No,
I mean, you really don't. The audio handles itself for him.
Well, if that's the one, because I didn't see this AI video that I guess you're referencing. If you have something that had come out, I hadn't seen it. So this is what I found.
Are you talking about the Fannie Mae ad?
Yeah.
That's okay. All right. Well, because this is not anything having to do with that. I referenced something having to do with the whole story that I put together. But yeah.
Yes, but if there is an AI video,
there is, and you have to find. That's why I asked.
All right, I got it. But I thought that this was kind of.
This has nothing to do with that. I don't know.
Well, I would say that this has a lot to do with what's going on right now. So it's really no surprise that somebody took it upon themselves to say, yeah, okay, Trump's acting like a Viking conqueror of some kind. At least that's what he fancies himself as. The funny thing is he'll see a video like this and think, oh, that's a really great idea. I totally appreciate you doing that on my behalf. I definitely look good as a Viking.
The greenest, actually. May Odin be my witness. What a great witness he is. We're great friends, by the way. Ragnarok, everybody.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he's going to see this and think, yeah, I look really great like
that. But this is just like somebody made this and it's silly. The ad I'm talking about is actually our sitting president did voiceover ad for Fannie Mae. Our sitting president did voiceover ad for Fannie Mae. No, that's a real ad. So that's what I was talking about before.
Yes, but did he do a voiceover or was it AI generated? You said that it was AI.
Well, the ad is AI, but I don't think that the narration is AI.
All right, well, here it is.
President Donald J. Trump has built a strong economy and is revitalizing the American dream. He will go down as the greatest housing president in history.
America was built one home at a time. I believe that. Because the American dream was never just an idea. It was a front door, a set of keys, a place where families built their future. For generations, home ownership meant security, independence, and stability. But today, that dream feels out of reach for too many Americans. Not because they stopped working hard, but because the system stopped working for them.
Well, now I understand why he had to do this in AI, because he wouldn't be capable of saying those words unless it was AI generated.
Yeah, I'm listening to it. It's not him, really.
No, it's definitely AI for sure, but...
Yeah, he doesn't sound this neat anymore. He sounds a lot more post-stroke and dementia than he sounds like this.
Well, again,
this is way too.
the way he talks, his words are slurred so heavily at this point.
Yeah, no, it's definitely AI.
For sure.
That's why protecting housing matters. Why institutions like Fannie Mae matter. Working with banks so lending doesn't stop, capital keeps moving, and people aren't locked out because their past wasn't perfect. When banks can say yes, families can move forward. The all-new Fannie Mae, protector of the American dream.
You've seen it all when your sitting president is pimping for Fannie Mae.
The great American mortgage corporations. I guess they're like a lot of people have been suggesting, they're going to try to squeeze every last dime out of the system that they can before it's not worth anything anymore. And we're in another major depression, the likes of which hasn't been seen in a very long time.
Well, what this correlates to, though, which was the story, is about Trump going to Davos. So Davos is this week. Tomorrow, Tuesday, is the first official day. And a couple thousand highly influential people, oligarchs and foreign dignitaries will be and are descending into Switzerland to Davos to basically decide how they're going to run the world. This is where decisions are made that affect our lives. This is where shit gets done.
Well, this is what they do every year, but yes, it's true.
Okay. So yeah, no, it happens every year. This is the annual meeting of the people that are in charge. So when people are convinced that they have authority and they have power, if they're not invited to this, they have no power.
I would agree. But
so most of the time, presidents don't attend Davos. However, Trump, being the center of the universe, not only is attending, but he is commanding audience. Yeah, he wants to be holding court there, and he will be presenting his housing solutions. He's already dealt with world peace. He's already done that. World peace, check. Did that.
Totally ended 8 wars, prevented 8 more, right. And I'm getting that Nobel Prize.
Good. So now he's going to solve the housing crisis. And I haven't read his whole plan, but I believe it involves something along the lines of getting 50-year mortgages now. So,
and to think that the person responsible for that atrocity of an economic plan is somebody that we a few years back had as a guest on the channel. So it's, I said we're small but mighty, guys. We've definitely, we had Bill Pulte on the podcast, so we've definitely outdone ourselves in a number of ways over the years. Inequality and unease are rising as elite Davos event opens with pro-business Trump set to attend. Yeah, he's pro-business, all right. Shall I or shall you or shall we go back?
I'll read it. Davos, Switzerland. Corporate chiefs and government leaders, including U.S. President Donald Trump, swarm into Davos, Switzerland this week, joining an elite annual meeting that promotes dialogue and economic progress, even as a domineering tone from Washington has upended the global order and billionaires have reaped trillions in new wealth as the poor lag behind. The World Economic Forum, the think tank whose 4-day annual meeting opens Tuesday, has a stated motto of improving the state of the world. And this year's theme is a spirit of dialogue. One question is whether Trump will speak with attendees or at them. Scroll.
Jen, have you given your contribution to the Human Fund as of yet?
No. If not contributed to the Human Fund. Nearly 3,000 attendees from the interlinked worlds of business, advocacy, and policy will tackle issues including the growing gap between rich and poor, AI's impact on jobs, concerns about geo-economic conflict, tariffs that have rocked longstanding trade relationships, and an erosion of trust between communities and countries. It's really going to be a discussion at a very important moment. Geopolitics is changing, said Mirek Dusek, a forum managing director in charge of programming. Some people think we're in a transition. Some people think we've already entered a new era. But I think it's undeniable that you are seeing a more competitive, more contested landscape. Trump set to loom large.
Well, I am quite large.
Trump's third visit to Davos as president comes as U.S. allies worry about his ambition to take over Greenland. Latin America is grappling with his efforts to reap Venezuela's oil, and his hardball tactics towards Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell have stirred concern among business leaders and lawmakers alike.
But I'm totally a peacetime president, believe me.
Yeah, Trump's peacemaking credentials also will be on the table. An announcement looms about his board of peace. Can we pause for a second to recognize the irony of switching the Department of Defense to the Department of War, but then now you're creating a board of peace? Like, an announcement looms large about his board of peace for Gaza, and he and his administration are expected to have bilateral meetings in the Warren of side rooms at the Congress Center. What do you want to bet $1 million Trump doesn't know what a bilateral meeting is? The U.S. leader seems to revel in strolling through the Davos Congress Center and among executives who backed his business-minded, money-making approach to politics. Critics will also be nearby. Trump has blown hot and cold recently with Colombian President Gustavo Petro an invitee. Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi of Iran was set to speak, but his appearance was canceled. Iran's leaders face U.S. sanctions over their handling of recent protests because we're the king of overseeing how everybody should handle protests. And organizers said Monday that the tragic loss of civilian lives means it's not right for the government to be represented. Oh, okay. Okay. So if this is sort of like canceling Iran because of human rights violations from the country that's committing a genocide. Got it. Okay.
Totally.
Got it. I'm just making sure I understood that. The two likeliest counterweights to Trump's administration on the international scene, China and the European Union, get top billing on the first day. EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen will speak Tuesday morning right before Vice Premier He Lifeng, China's economic czar, as DESECRATE put it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? What are you thinking? You're like laughing at something.
I just, the whole like German extraction of Switzerland, it's got the French and the German influence.
Founder Schwab sits out as NVIDIA chief makes a debut. This thing is like the Oscars it's like the Oscars for ugly people. It is. It's the Oscars for ugly people.
Yeah. The forum will be without its founder, Klaus Schwab, who hosted the first event in Davos 55 years ago, focusing on business, only to see it since balloon into a catch-all extravaganza. He stepped down in April. New co-chairs Larry Fink, BlackRock, the head of investment firm BlackRock, and Andre Hoffman, vice chair of pharmaceuticals firm Roche, are in charge. This year will also mark the debut appearance of NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang, arguably the world's most important tech leader today. Among some 850 CEOs and chairs of global companies, along with celebrities like Hollywood actor and safe water advocate Matt Damon.
Well, as long as Matt Damon's there, I'm sure it'll all be fine.
The future of AI, its impact on business and work, and the prospects for artificial general intelligence will be key themes. Presidents of Argentina, Milei, France, merci beaucoup, to,
Look at all those. So the presidents, look at the countries who will be on hand. Do you see the common thread of those countries?
War, commits war, attacked. Yeah, I get it.
No, the common denominator here are these are all Zio-approved empire partners. These are all Zio-approved empire partners. Syria, are you kidding me? We just had he was just here in the White House. He's conspiring with
I see. So the person that they replaced al-Assad with was to make sure that person was a Zio scum fucker as well.
But He was the guy who ran Al-Qaeda, ran ISIS. He's the head of ISIS. He was the guy who was our most wanted. Yes.
Don't you see how it all comes together, ladies and gentlemen?
So all of those 5 countries are currently right now some of the biggest Zio tools.
It's indescribable. Argentina, France, Indonesia, Syria, and Ukraine will be among the dozens of national leaders on hand. How much longer is this?
I don't think it's much longer. That's it.
Scroll up. As rich-poor divide widens, trust in institutions falter. Really?
As it should.
Leading public relations firm Edelman, gee, I wonder what side they're on, reports in its annual Trust Barometer launched a quarter century ago in this year, surveying nearly 34,000 people in 28 countries, that trade and recession fears have climbed to an all-time high. Optimism is falling, especially in developed countries, and grievance last year has morphed into broader insularity. People are retreating from dialogue and compromise, choosing the safety of the familiar over the perceived risk of change. We favor nationalism over global connection and individual gain over joint progress. Our mentality has shifted from we to me. The survey found that about 2/3 of respondents said their trust was concentrated towards CEOs of the companies that they work for, fellow citizens or neighbors, while nearly 70% believed institutional leaders, such as from business and government, deliberately mislead the public. You think? Oxfam, the world-renowned advocacy group, issued a report which showed that billionaire wealth rose more than 16% last year, 3 times faster than the past 5-year average, to more than 18 trillion with a T. It drew on Forbes magazine data on the world's richest people. Oxfam said that 2.5 trillion rise in the wealth of billionaires last year would be enough to eradicate extreme poverty 26 times over. Their wealth has risen by more than 4/5 since 2020, while nearly half the world's population lives in poverty. Nearly half? That's more than half. The Trump administration has led a pro-billionaire agenda, the group said. Though actions such as slashing taxes for the wealthiest, fostering the growth of AI-related stocks that help rich investors get richer, and thwarting efforts to tax giant companies. Yeah, he's a real champion of the people, let me tell you.
Right.
The advocacy group wants more national efforts to reduce inequality, higher taxes on the ultra-rich, to reduce their power, and greater limits on their ability to shape policy through lobbying. With such concerns filtering through to policymakers, Trump, who is leading the biggest ever U.S. delegation and will have about a half dozen cabinet secretaries in town, because why go to Davos and not get the full 5-star treatment for a week? Am I right?
He really is like the emperor walking around, and they're just running around chasing him, holding his clothes. You know what I mean? Like he really...
And any of those conservative ink shitbags have the nerve to complain about how much money was wasted by Obama and Biden when they were in the White House. Listen, they no question wasted a shit ton of money, but it pales. I bet you Trump has wasted more money than Obama and Biden combined. So you'll put the two of them together and the amount of waste. This is waste. You need to go to Davos with a whole entourage in town.
He's making a very important presentation, which, by the way, I wonder if we'll ever be able to see that, if that'll be made available, or how horrible he'll do with given his current mental status or lack thereof. But apparently, yes, he needs a full press court. He's doing a presentation on his housing solutions.
Yeah, really. Yeah, the housing solutions that are going to make him and his cronies.
I'm sure that him and his friend, yes, because the person who's overseeing Davos is the guy who's the head of BlackRock, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, he's not concerned with people having housing.
No, he's just concerned with how can I sucker more people into getting more money. That's about it. Is expected to discuss housing and affordability in his Davos speech on Wednesday. Yeah, that'll be a hoot. Critics of WEF and Trump take to the streets. As usual, protesters rallied over the weekend and in and near Davos ahead of the event. Hundreds of marchers scaled the Alpine Road up to the town on Saturday behind a banner in German that read, "No profit from war," and alongside a truck that bore the sign "World Economic Failure." Well, that's for sure. Companies like Microsoft, India's Tata Consultancy, social media titan TikTok, and cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike joined governments from countries such as Nigeria, Qatar, Ukraine, and the U.S. a USA house is making a debut this year to set up shop on the Davos promenade to promote their services, products, and national economies.
They're having a giant rich person trade show. That's what this is. It's a giant rich person, rich country trade show. And yeah, it's really...
Davos storekeepers rent out their premises so that forum participants can have the prime real estate for the week. Critics have long accused the annual meeting of generating more rhetoric than results. No, that's all it does.
Right.
It's all rhetoric. It's not actual results. And they see Trump's return as a sign of the disconnect between the haves and the have-nots. Some say Swiss leaders who support the event and flock to Davos, too, are adding to the problem. It is worrying how Swiss politicians are courting warmongers and their profiteers in Davos. Mirjam Haas-Stadtmann, president of Switzerland's Young Socialists, who have led protests against the event, the WEF will never bring peace, but will only fuel escalation. I agree. And that's what they're there for. And that is the escalation, basically. And so while this particular event gets very little fanfare, people know of it, but they don't actually know what goes on. I would definitely say that when ish hits the fan, which it's hitting, those in power are just expecting the worst. And they will get it. Because that's what we're heading for. This is it's a Band-Aid on a gaping wound that's going to get ripped off. And that's what Trump has always represented. He does not play nice. He does not protect empire. He protects his own personal interests and that of his immediate family. And all of the cohorts that have given him money over the years. Look at all the people that he's been pardoning. Almost all of them are criminals, like ridiculous financial criminals. But what did they all have in common? They've all given him a piece of the action.
Yeah. Again, this is it's like the Oscars or one of those kinds of things where a bunch of rich and powerful people get together and to celebrate each other. That's really what this is.
Yeah.
If they were concerned about solutions, then they would do this virtually, because the amount of gas and emissions from the private jets every year flying to this specific event, I believe it's like more than, I want to say, there was some ridiculous comparison how many jets and how much fuel is used to get all of these oligarchs to this place. You know, all I can think about is it would be a really excellent place to try some sort of designated survivor situation. If I'm just putting that out there, you know, if something were to go awry in Davos.
Well, the thing that you have to remember, which I think is very important, is that when you're talking about a private jet in particular, to me, if there's a part of luxury lifestyle that makes me sick, it's people who think that they have to fly on private jets. And some people fly on private jets not even for cross-country flights. People are so rich and privileged that they basically decide that if they are in San Diego and they don't want to deal with traffic, they'll get on a private jet to get to Los Angeles. Like, that's how pathetic people truly are. And the amount of carbon footprint that you are putting into the atmosphere by taking one cross-country flight on a private jet, it's the equivalent of a person's carbon footprint for a lifetime. For a lifetime.
That's what I mean. And these people do this every year. And so
Correct.
To say that this is in you know, their efforts to better the world, no, it really isn't. That this is like the Oscars for, it's like the Oscars for ugly people. That's really what this is. I don't know any other way to think about it.
Well, speaking of taking a private jet from a lot of different parts of the world to a place that Jen and I are very familiar with, which is Hollywood, Florida, Hollywood East, as we like to call it, not Hollywood West. I guess you would call this the Zio version of Davos. Is that what we would call?
I don't know that this particular event happens there every year. Like, I'm not familiar with this particular event, or if it's just coincidentally that it's there this time. I'm not sure what this event is.
Well, the thing that we have talked about at great length, which we want people to understand when it comes to the state of Israel is that AIPAC is not the end-all be-all problem when it comes to the Israel lobby. They have all of these NGOs, if you will, these nonprofit organizations that are simply running cover for the Zionist state. Now, if anybody knows anything about the congressional district that Jen ran in against Wasserman Schultz, it is one of the most Zionist-laden districts in the entire country. And Hollywood, Florida has one of the most privileged, psychopathic Zionist enclaves known as Emerald Hills.
It's not good, yeah.
And so this particular event was held not too far from there at a place called The Diplomat, which is right on Hollywood Beach, which is where all of these fancy shindigs ultimately end up taking place. And who was there but the two most powerful Zionist contributors in the respective two-party duopoly system that we live in today? On one hand, you have Sayam Habin, who is the mega donor Zionist for the Democratic Party. And on the other side, you have Miriam Adelson, the biggest Zionist donor of the GOP. And this is the grandiose event that they had over the weekend.
You and Sheldon created a lot of relationship over the years with politicians at the state level, especially at the federal level. I want you to share with everyone why is it so important and how do you do it? Again, writing checks is part of it, but there is more than writing just checks. So how do you do it?
Can you allow me not to answer?
She is one of the most grotesque individuals on the planet. So and for people who don't know South Florida, and she could be any South Floridian. Really, she blends perfectly. If she were walking around Hollywood or Hallandale Beach or Miami Beach or any place, she would blend perfectly. This is one of the many reasons why I had to move, because of people like her.
Basically between Boca Raton and Miami Beach,
it's full of people like this.
People like her.
It's so unappealing. It's just, it's gross.
The thing that I also find very perplexing about this particular slice of the Jewish community is that they truly believe that they're attractive. Like, they think that they're good looking. They're actually,
I know. Pirate Justin, her accent is from Israel.
Yeah.
She's Israeli, for whatever the hell that means.
Actually, no, she's not. She actually was born in Palestine.
Oh,
Talk about a conflict of historical interest.
Right. She's from the region, but her people she's from settler stock.
Yes.
Okay. She's from Ashkenazi settler stock, born in Palestine, and she's just so detestable.
Yeah.
You choose.
You chose.
I want to be truthful, and there are so many things that I don't want to talk about.
If I were to be truthful and tell the truth about how I have bought all of Congress and my friend here, Mr. Savin, we had this agreement years ago that I take the right and he take the left, and together we put it together and we have everybody.
No, she is not Semitic. She is most definitely not a Semite.
She's as white as a freaking ghost.
She was born in the region because her Ashkenazi parents migrated there. So she was born there. But her aunt, if she were to do a DNA test, I would bet you no Semitic DNA in her body.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want specific, but that's okay. But everyone should know here how important it is to get involved, because the reason that both of you were able to make huge differences is because you got involved and you spent a lot of time and yes, a lot of money on it. And
that's the reason.
Let it just finish. There's not that much left.
You got involved and you cared. And that's what everyone here need to know, that, complaining and doing nothing is not going to get us anywhere. And you guys have done completely the opposite. So thank you both.
Yeah, whoever's asking where she migrated from, it doesn't matter. Poland, Russia, Ukraine, wherever her parents were from, some white ass Ashkenazi Jew-laden Eastern European or Western Eurasian type of place. That's where her people are from. And
As
nobody
Gurley
cares.
Flynn- As Gurley Flynn points out, Tel
Aviv, mandatory Palestine, right.
Yeah, and she'll never be able to shake that no matter how much money she throws at her precious little state. That's the way it is. But remember, guys, you can't vote your way out of this because the person that is sitting across from her, that's the person who makes sure that the Democratic Party, led by Apoc Shakur, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and Chucky the Shum, do exactly as they're told when it comes to the Zionist state. And here's Chaim Seven.
Many sessions here about how important it is to get involved, to build a relationship with politicians, and to have access. And access and relationship can buy you influence, doesn't mean it's going to buy you. So you both master that. So can you share with us, I want everyone to learn today, how do you start, how do you build a relationship with the politician? I know there is always money involved.
You buy them! What kind of dumbass question is that? And then he says, oh, I know there's always money. There's only money. That's it. You know then. That's how you do it. You spend a shit ton of money. That's how you do it. That's how you cultivate that. What kind of dumbass question is that?
Let me tell you, Hollywood, Florida is a great example. It's a great example because there are certain places that you can go and you can see the distinct differences between the haves and the have-nots. But if you really want to see a town, a community where a lot of it is based on racial lines for sure, but you can go to Hollywood, Florida, and you can see the poorest of the poor and the richest of the rich within a 10-mile radius.
Within a 10-mile radius?
Yeah.
You could see that within a 2-mile radius. Are you kidding me?
Maybe 2
The
miles.
parts of Hollywood where the mayor lives and where his whole family and all those people live versus like Liberia, that's not even 2 miles.
Yeah, it's kind of well, if you go to if you go to City Hall in Hollywood, it's an interesting setup because it's been this way for probably 100 years, because the way it was initially set up was that it came around like a circular roundabout. It's in a roundabout. It's in a very unique location. And what you can do at this roundabout is you can go in a variety of directions. And depending on what direction you go in, you're either in the good part of town or you're in the not so good part of town. So you're right. It's actually not, it's like a mile or two, but it truly is the definition of the haves and the have-nots.
So Algerian has a question. Funny how her money comes from casinos, betting, which is forbidden in Judaism. Can someone explain? I can explain, Algerian, because these are not Jews. They're cosplaying as Jews. They don't follow Judaism. Our Rabbi Shapiro, who's coming on next week, will tell you these are idol worshipers. Zionists predominantly are secular. Israel is a secular Jewish state, which I know that sounds weird because it doesn't make sense.
Do you know what Israel is to the average Zionist, ladies and gentlemen? Israel is the golden calf. That's what Israel is.
These are all idol worshipers. Yeah. So when you say that it's her money comes from casinos and betting, that's not Jewish. She's not a practicing Jew.
Not at all.
I'm not saying she doesn't light candles for stuff or whatever, but this is not someone who takes the tenets of Judaism seriously.
Correct.
Part of the system, but the relationship is not always just about money, because to have the access and to have the relationship to create an influence,
it's also about blackmail,
not just the money. So we have 4,000 people here. I want them to hear from the best, you and Miri, about how do you do that?
Well, Miri and Sheldon Yizichro Baruch have been much more generous than me, so why don't you turn around and ask her that?
I'm going to ask her, but you both made a lot of connection and made a big influence.
Now what I gave is this. This is what they gave is this. But it's the same principle. I understand what you're asking.
He's about to say we make them offers they can't refuse.
Notice
I don't know
how
how he expects him to answer this question legitimately.
notice how the two biggest Zionist financiers in American politics, they're not Americans. They literally are from another fucking country, and they have invaded our country. And when you stupid fucks out there go after people with no money and no power, but you don't say a fucking word about these two clowns, holy shit. You want to talk about an invasion of the United States? These people have taken over our country.
Oh, yes. Oh, no,
Taken over.
it's definitely not where I am moving because no, thank you. But down in Florida, woo,
Yeah, forget South Florida's over. Over.
just let them have it.
It's, I want to be cautious it's a system that we did not create. It's a system that's in place. It's a legal system.
Oh, it is.
And we just play within the system. And that's it. I mean, it's just really quite simple. If you support a politician, you, under normal circumstances, should have access to be able to share opinions.
And there it is. If you give them the money, they are supposed to listen to what you want them to do. That is
And it
the
isn't
legal
just-
way
look,
it works
and-
in the system.
But we also do know that it isn't just money, but he's not going to talk about the other things either. The money is the nicest part of it. Bribery is the least of the offenses because the other things they do are threatening, bullying, extortion, blackmail. So there's all sorts of things that they do to get the politicians on their team. But heavy-handed threats, threatening their children's livelihoods, threatening their family businesses, that's the kind of things that they do. So he's not going to say that.
Yeah. When the Supreme Court decided that money is speech, this is the inevitable conclusion. And not that we weren't going to head there anyway. You know, I love how people think it's all about Citizens United. It isn't. Citizens United just confirmed it. They would have figured out other ways to do it. So when people are like, we have to overturn Citizens United, Bernie, nice idea. That doesn't solve the problem.
That's their easy fix. That's their easy fix answer because one, they know it's never going to happen. And so they could keep saying it because it won't happen. And it wouldn't work because we were already basically there. Citizens United just sort of encapsulated it and put the final nail.
It just made it official. That's
Yeah.
made it official.
And try to help them see your point of view. That's what access grants you. And the contribution and the financial support grants you the access. So, I mean, those that give more have more access, and those that give less have less access. It's a simple math. Trust me.
It's simple
Get
math.
it.
Simple math.
That really is incredible when you think about it. I mean, he's just.
I love that they say the quiet part out loud now. This stuff used to be a lot more hush hush, and now it's just in full on view for the whole world to see the behind the scenes. It's like we have seen behind the curtain, and now we're just continuing to see this. But yes, that's how it works. They come in and they bully people financially and otherwise to do what they want them to do, and we've seen this at a local level. We've seen it. We know what happens.
Absolutely. And we see what happens when, I mean, listen, you know what the sad reality is, ladies and gentlemen? And you know who's sitting in that audience? Debbie Wasserman Schultz is 1000% at that event. And what I can assure you, and what I can assure you is that she is friends with both of them.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, without a doubt, she is chummy with Miriam, or at least she thinks she is. For all we know, Miriam probably, like everyone else, thinks, "Oh God, here she comes," because she thinks we're friends. But yeah.
Well, I think Miriam and Wasserman Schultz like stood next to each other or something at the.
I'm sure they've stood next to each other lots of times. That doesn't mean that anybody actually really likes Debbie.
But the point is that this is it. It's really this simple. and we're going to explain it in a different context when we get to Shapiro and Newsom, is that you put the coin in, the politician has the coin dispenser, you put the coin in, and they talk, and they do the rock'em sock'em roll.
They're circus seals. Yes, you pay them to perform for you.
Correct. And so now what you're going to see, which is going to crystallize this all together, is when you see a total puppet like Pam Bondi, you'll understand why. Miriam Adelson is finally going to say something.
Under her leadership, the Department of Justice has made combating anti-Semitism a top priority, especially in response to the alarming rise in incidents following October 7.
Could that be because of the way that Ziohel has gone about perpetrating a genocide? Could that be?
You are just being anti-Semitic. Don't you understand that you're a bad Jew too? You are a bad Jew. Bad Jew, Jim. Bad Jew.
I find her so gross.
She brings moral clarity, resolve, and an unwavering commitment to justice to this critical fight. Please welcome my friend, the 87th Attorney General of the United States, Pamela Bondi.
Can you pause for a second? I think that Pam Bondi was one of Epstein's girls. I think Pam Bondi comes from that circle ring. I do. I think that she's been involved with Trump since she was a teenager, and I think she comes up through the ranks of that entire system. I'm just saying.
No argument.
Miriam Adelson is amazing. What she has done for Israel, for our country, and for this world is second to none.
I'll give you that.
Now, always make sure to put Israel ahead of the United States. Now, I got to tell you, in my opinion, that's a Freudian slip. That's deliberate, and it's Freudian at the same time. Always put Israel first, so that way we know who actually is against the United States. I never say I'm for Palestine over America. I say I'm an American who's for Palestine. But everyone in that fucking room is saying I'm for Israel and I happen to live in America. They are mocking us, ladies and gentlemen, mocking us.
They just don't care what we think one way or the other. They're going to do what they want to do. They don't care what we think.
Hence the name of this channel. They're daring us to do it.
Thank you, my friend. The sad truth is, for way too long, anti-Semitism has been allowed to grow unchecked in this country. Too many institutions have abdicated their moral responsibility to speak up. Too many so-called leaders have stayed quiet. Actions have consequences, and inaction has consequences too. We've sued violent protesters under the FACE Act for intimidating Jewish Americans worshiping at synagogues. This is the first time since its passage, the FACE Act in 1994, that it has been used to protect a house of worship. Working with Secretary Linda McMahon, who has been a champion for you as well, and Harmeet, we have secured a $200 million settlement with Columbia University for
$200 million settlement with Columbia University.
Columbia is dead. They're dead. Like, they have no credibility as far as I'm concerned. Like, I to some extent do feel a little bad for people who have gone there and that's their alma mater, because they're shit. They are. They have no spine, no backbone. They are an embarrassment to what education is supposed to be in this country.
$200 million for doing what? What was their crime? What did they
allowed
do?
Campus protests. They allowed free speech.
200.
And people, I don't feel sorry for Blondie like she's a victim. I don't feel, I just happen to think she comes up from that traded group. I think that along the same lines of how Erica Kirk is an asset and has been put through this in different capacities as an asset, I think that's how Pam Bondi has been since teenagerhood. I think she's been used as an asset to this cause.
Violating the civil rights of Jewish students.
Yeah.
And Jewish employees. We've secured a $75 million settlement with Northwestern University for anti-Semitic conduct.
I'm embarrassed.
We've secured a $60 million settlement with Cornell that includes provisions to halt anti-Semitic conduct. And we've launched a full investigation into University of California's system for systematic anti-Semitism.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure the University of California is systemically anti-Semitic. Yeah, that's what I think.
Now, do you understand why they cave so easily? Why Cory Booker is a house Negro for the Zionist cause? Do you guys not see it? Do you not get it yet? There is so much fucking money to go around. And again, it's a shame that it's this way in politics, but it really is math, which is why I pointed this out earlier to Jen today, that right now it is looking, again, knock on wood, but it is looking very strongly like Thomas Massie is going to save his seat in Kentucky. He's a 75% by Polymarket's numbers. He's likely to be reelected at 75% clip right now. If he's able to win, then that will set the precedent that you don't have to continue down this path. But you know what else that shows, Jen? It shows how much more committed to actual principles true conservatives are than liberals are, because they hung Cori Bush, Jamal Bowman, and a whole bunch of others out to dry. Not that they were anything to write home about, but these seats are not sacred. And to the Democratic Party typical voter, they are more in a cult than Republican voters are. Because when the powers that be tell them to get rid of Cori Bush and to get rid of Jamal Bowman, they don't even ask questions.
No, they get in line. Yeah, no, I agree. I think that your typical blue libs are definitely more cultish than your typical non-MAGA Republicans. Like, I'm not going to, I mean, you're just non-MAGA typical, if there isn't even that. Is there that anymore? Are there non-MAGA Republicans? But yes.
Well, let me tell you, one of the truths, again, the point of this entire video is exactly what Pam Bondi said at the end, which is we get all the money. We get the money. You give me money. I go out there. I do my job. And then the next thing you know, we get these settlements, these astronomical, absurd settlements over nothing. Over nothing.
Well, they're going to need that because they're being sued. This administration is being sued in so many different ways all around the country that I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what the hell is money anymore anyway?
Well, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, I don't know for people who don't know, but Donald Trump has been sued personally more than 1,000 times in his life. And that was before being president, which
it's all a hoax. It's a total hoax. You don't know what you're talking about.
That's a level of, that's insane for people who don't know. Like, that's insane. I've never been sued once. There are people that, depending on their profession, that occasionally it does happen. I'll give you that. But 1,000 times, 1,000 times, that's just, yeah.
I mean, imagine caving that hard. And it also goes to show you, this just reaffirms the anti-Jew stereotype that can't shake itself, and it's never going to. Because the Jews in that room, who are extremely affluent and wealthy, exert every single stereotype in the book. Money, power, affluence, influence, strategy, control, corruption, future endeavors, all at the expense of the American taxpayer and citizen. And yet we sit here and we take it. How much longer are we going to take it? They're telling you how they do it. They're telling you to your face. It's all corrupt, all of it. There is no democracy. There is no republic. It's dead.
Yeah.
So at some
Yeah.
point, you have to make a choice.
I
Are you
thought we
going-
agreed we weren't going to have to talk about Shmuley. I can't stomach that.
We don't
fuck.
have to talk about him.
Okay.
Sometimes Colin puts up videos that he doesn't need to put up. But this, I think, is a good time to transition into what I believe is another example of why there is no difference between the two-party duopoly. There just really isn't. The mask has come completely off. And we had discussed why is it that Gavin Newsom is the front runner to be the nominee for president in the Democratic Party. For starters, he's been running for president for over 20 years.
He was groomed for this. He was born and groomed for this.
He's Pelosi's nephew.
Through marriage, but yes. Point being, he comes from a stock of people, if you will, where this is what they're groomed for. Also, he's a good-looking guy. He's very smooth. He really gives Bill Clinton vibes, except for I don't think he's as bright as Bill Clinton. So there's that.
Well, Jen, listen, I appreciate any time you can charm my pants off, and they come off very easily. But this particular time, you really done it better. No, the fact of the matter is, he became the mayor of San Francisco. He became the governor of California. It was an inevitable trajectory. Let me tell you something. He had very, and I mean very, itchy trigger fingers to run for president in 2024. He wanted to be Biden's replacement. He wanted to get in there on short notice, and even if he lost, he would still run for president again in 28. He would already have the landscape set up for himself nationwide as the candidate. The fact of the matter is he can sell himself as a president in a way Kamala Harris never could on her best day. And so now, don't ask me why he decided to do this.
Oh, here.
There you go.
This is what we're talking about. These people are a whole different breed.
Yeah, he's a Carcetti. That's correct. So he's Italian, and he's got a lot of moolah to go with it. And he likes to.
So, do we want to? Are we gonna get into the Newsom Ben Shapiro interview? Okay, guys. So, Gavin Newsom hosted Ben Shapiro on his podcast, and I saw only pieces of it because I can't stomach Ben. Like, I kind of feel like we should just play our clip and get it over with before we even start this.
Listen, if you're even going to invoke my name, you have a lot of nerve, young lady. Okay, I am a completely masculine, charming, attractive, strong man.
You think you're better than me, Paul? Do you think you're hanging here all day, you're higher than me, you're better than me? Yeah, well, I don't miss you. You're not. I'm a father. I can think that you are not better than me at all. Yeah, I'll teach you.
Boy, I bet he never thought that was ever going to come out so many years later.
I want to know, and guys, please, if you know any way to get that to him, nothing would satisfy me more than knowing that he sees that we do that every time someone mentions his name 3 times on this show. But being that we're going to be talking about him, we just needed to get that over with now. But I think he manhandles Gavin Newsom, and that really does not speak well about Gavin Newsom in my mind as a contender.
No, but here's how I predict. I predict we're going to do it. So Melissa Whitty, friend of the show, is going to join me for a solo show to talk about Charlie Kirk and all the things that are with Turning Point USA. And Mel is very friendly with Candace Owens. And so I'm hoping, against all hope, that at some point the introduction can be made. Maybe Candace and I could have a conversation. And if that conversation happens, I will 1000% play that clip. And then hopefully Candace, who absolutely detests Ben Shapiro, would be so kind as to play it on a loop. And then Shapiro 1000% is going to know about it. And
I want him to know that I enjoy it as much as I do.
Oh,
and that all of our people, like I know that our people, our regulars in our chat, they like it as much as I do. So I just want him to know how much pleasure we get from that.
What Mehdi has to understand, what I think a lot of people need to understand about politics, is that if you're doing a good job, that means you're doing a bad job for the people who are in positions of power and privilege and wealth. If he's doing a shitty job for the average person in California, that means he's doing really good for the people that have all the money and all the power.
And his donor class. That's
Okay.
right. So guys, what clip is this? Because I've only seen parts of this interview where Sabby showed how pathetic this is.
Well, Gavin decided to sit down with Lil Ben for a humiliation ritual. Here we go.
Have now been dragged into this conversation, some dragged, some run with, flags waving, into the conversation.
This notion of genocide.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, look,
Israel did not commit a genocide in Gaza. There's
Now, repeat after me. Repeat after me. Israel, say it, Gavin, say it. Israel did not commit a genocide.
But unfortunately, Gavin Newsom is too much of a cuck to say actually 98% of genocide scholars have agreed that that's exactly what this is. It also satisfies every legal definition of the word put by international law. So when he says not by any standard, that's just patently false. And yet Gavin Newsom just sits there and goes along with this like a fucking pussy.
That is great. Hello from the gutter. That is true. It is an anagram for Nevish. That's very good and very true.
no standard by which Israel committed a genocide in Gaza, just on a factual level.
Just as a legal and factual level.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is your opinion on this?
My opinion is I understand the tendency for people to make that, to assert that.
Why?
On the basis of the images and the proportionality as it relates
doesn't mean genocide.
No. And by the way, I agree with you.
And
do you see how, but Ben Shapiro is the guest. And do you see how he has turned this show around? Gavin Newsom has lost complete control of this interview within seconds. And now he's being questioned as if he's being interrogated, really, by this peon. It's so crazy. So anybody who can be manhandled by Benny Shapiro should not be taken seriously as a contender to be president.
Well, Gavin takes himself very seriously as a contender. And again, it doesn't matter because the primary system in the Democratic Party for president of the United States is rigged. So the one thing I will give Newsom credit for, which I can't give him much credit, but I'll give him this much credit. Newsom is not pretending to be a progressive. He's not pretending that he is the man of the people. He's proving that he just wants to be president, which is fine. And
no, he's blue blood mentality. He feels he's above the peons for sure.
Well, he's a child of immense privilege. It's very hard to grow up like that and not have that terminally affect you for life. Like, how does it not? He can't see it any other way, which is going to be interesting to see what ends up happening when he is actually out on the stump in places like Iowa and New Hampshire, where he's going to have to answer real questions from people and see how that goes over. I doubt he's going to do very well. Remember, he's looking for the safest path possible. That's all he's looking for. And when he sits down with Ben Shapiro, he's doing it for one reason. He's sending a smoke signal out to every Zio donor who is really a liberal, and it's telling them, you're safe with me.
I see your perspective.
I see it. I get it. And that's enough.
Proportionality doesn't mean that if you kill my child and I then kill 7 criminals, that I've been disproportionate.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think but I understand that tendency on the basis of trying to reconcile the proportionate nature of how the war was ultimately conducted and the devastation.
I have a question. Why do you feel the need to create a permission structure for that sort of stuff? I mean, meaning
he really needs to get his teeth knocked out. Like, he really does.
I'm telling you, he's in that category.
He is such a sniveling little weasel scumbag. Like, he really is. I told you, I figured out who Ben Shapiro was. I figured it out like one of the last shows that we did. This is you know who this guy is, Jen. He's the guy in high school that basically hears that two guys that are like a lot tougher than he is don't like each other, and he tries to get them into a fight. Hey, did you hear what he said about you at lunch? Oh, he's talking a lot of smack about you. He's that kid. That's who he is. And he's Martin Prince. He's both. But he is a shit stirrer. Again, he never maybe he got shoved into a few lockers. Maybe he had a few wedgies,
maybe. Yeah.
But he's such a sniveling little weasel.
Yeah, he really is.
It's not true.
Yeah.
Why not just say it's not true?
Yeah, look, I don't know the definition.
Now repeat after me.
You let it play for a bit.
True.
I don't know the legal threshold. That's not my opinion, so I don't share that opinion as it relates to genocide. I do not agree with that notion.
But you do understand that if you accuse Israel of committing a genocide, that now puts Israel in the position of it should be a pariah state, because states that commit genocide should be pariah states.
Yeah.
So
yes,
please don't threaten us with a good time, Benny boy.
Granting legitimacy to that position inherently.
I'm not granting legitimacy. I'm just saying the devastation in Gaza at the human level. You've got four kids.
Of course, it's terrible.
No, but I think it's also important to absorb that a little bit more. Just as it was sick, and we were clear in our condemnation, these people like me, as it relates to what Hamas did and that act of barbarism and terrorism.
Yeah, but there's a difference between deliberate terrorism and wartime collateral damage, of course. And if we refuse to acknowledge that reality, then we end up equating
the collateral damage. I have stronger opinions. It wasn't just collateral.
Really, you think that Israel is targeting civilians?
Yes. I think Israel lives to target civilians. In fact, I don't think Israel has the set to target anybody that isn't civilians.
I think the callous nature within which he talks about civilian casualties also shows he wears his supremacy on his sleeve. Like he wears it.
Oh, no, there's no secret. He truly feels superior. He doesn't see Palestinians as real people. Absolutely not.
No. And then you think about the two Israelis or two Zionists that were shot down in Washington, D.C., and he wanted the entire world to stop when that happened. But when we talk about Gaza or we talk about the West Bank, he makes it clear that this is a means to an end. Greater Israel, no matter how much bloodshed must be had, is the end all be all as far as he's concerned.
Yes, that's what they're working for.
But perhaps maybe more disturbing than anything else is that their pride will be greatest before the fall, because they truly do not understand how much the world hates their guts and how much.
No, they do. They just don't care. And they don't see that the inevitable conclusion is their demise. They somehow think they're going to triumph it, and they don't care that they're hated. Whereas we see it as it's their end.
It is. Guys, if you haven't smashed that like button, please make sure that you do. And please make sure that you share the stream if you would be so kind. Let's keep this going. Here we go.
I think some of the double tapping issues, I have a lot of issues with how Bibi ultimately conducted the war. I personally do. And I have a lot of issues that are also painted on the basis of the conversation I had with a few weeks later after October 7th, the way he talked about the Palestinians. I kept talking about Hamas. He kept talking about the Palestinians. I kept coming back to Hamas. And then ultimately how the war was conducted. Not saying it was a genocide. I'm not. But I have issues.
What is the thing that he said that you particularly?
There was a dehumanization. I didn't like the way he talked about the Palestinian people. I just didn't.
What is the specific?
They can't govern. I didn't. The specific. I don't want to get into the details.
The
of the
reason I'm asking
is
because when you suggest that he is conflating Hamas and the Palestinians,
he wasn't conflating.
Of course, it does lead to the conclusion.
They were different. It wasn't. No. It was. I'm just saying the way he ultimately conducted it. I look back at that conversation. I reflect on that conversation. It doesn't surprise me, and I did not think it was proportionate.
Okay,
and I thought it was overwhelming, and the devastation and destruction breaks my heart.
Okay, so you're president of the United States. Somebody invades from Mexico. They take several thousand American citizens.
I get it. And by the way,
they hold them all the way until the end of the war. Until the end of the war, their hostages being held.
Don't get me wrong on any of this. I'm with.
War.
That's how war works, Ben. That's how it works. Oh my God.
The war is over. When did the war end? When did it end? They're still mass killing Palestinians. but it was never a war.
No, well, and the fact that Gavin Newsom has been going along with that narrative in this interview is very telling. He's trying to have his cake and eat it too. He's trying to act like he's got sympathy for the Palestinians, that he sees their plight, while also appealing and not trying to upset Ben Shapiro and make him feel like he gets what he's saying too. That doesn't work. There's no middle ground.
View in terms of the ultimate accountability and bringing the hostages home. I like the clarity and conviction as it relates to getting all the hostages dead and alive home, and all of that. I'm not denying that.
And by the way, Hamas still has not been extirpated in the areas where Israel has left them alone.
And clearly this truce and détente is still a work in progress. There's been a lot of destruction.
Well, because Hamas.
No, that's because Israel keeps mass killing because there is no intention of stopping what they're doing. As you said, 3 days after the attack, 3 days, October 10th, 2023, and we have the clip still up on TikTok to prove it. You don't see any scenario where there's less than 2 million people dead in the desert.
No.
And
this was always ending that way. This was always going to end that way.
Yeah.
Was supposed to be disarmed, and
yeah.
they didn't.
Look, I'm crystal clear about Hamas.
But the point is that
crystal clear about Hamas.
Right, but the point is that I think,
and I'm also clear my love for Israel and my condemnation of Bibi. And there's a distinction. I condemn Donald Trump. I love my country.
Yes, walk that fine line. Dance, you fucker, dance. He's like dancing, doing a little dance.
Dance.
If you get manhandled at your own interview by the interviewee who's that guy, you are not qualified to be the president of this country. You're just not. You're a weak ass man. That's what you are. You're a weak ass man. You can't stand up to this piece of shit douche? No, go away.
Well, that's also why you've made it very clear that the Democrats can't possibly win a national election, because even if they somehow put, if the progressives actually thought you can't do it with Ro Khanna, and Ro's a friend of the show, but you know what? Ro is who he is. And if it's going to be AOC, and if
Peter says friend of the show very loosely, he's been on the show before, but I wouldn't say we're friends. And I would also suggest, and somebody was asking in the chat, who would the Democrats put up that wouldn't make your stomach turn? Nobody. They have nobody. There is not a single person in the Democratic Party that would be a contender in terms of noteworthiness. There is not a single person that won't get more and more disliked throughout the duration of a campaign. Every single one of their people will get more and more disliked as they open their mouth throughout any campaign, just like Kamala did.
The Democrats have one person who I would think under normal circumstances, if this was a stable economy, if this was, again, if he was running at the backdrop of, let's say, Reagan's first term, Clinton's first term, something along those lines, Andy Beshear, who is the governor of Kentucky, is probably the one person they have in their entire bench that might have a puncher's chance. And that's being as nice about it as I could possibly be. In terms of the party overall, in terms of the people who are absolutely going to run and are going to be the favored candidates of the establishment, you have Gavin Newsom, you have Josh Shapiro, governor of Pennsylvania, you have J.B. Pritzker, heir to the Hyatt Hotel fortune and governor of Illinois. You have Gretchen Whitmer, governor and crazy eye lady from Michigan. And that's pretty much it.
Every single one of those people will go further and further down in the polls throughout the term of a campaign, and every time they open their mouth, every single one of them, because none of them are actual populist candidates that can actually rally grassroots people. And so it will become apparent every time they open their mouth, which is exactly what I said would happen with Kamala. That's exactly what would happen with any one of those people.
I'm telling you right now, and I'm calling this, if Massey wins re-election for that congressional seat and then decides to run for president in 2028, He's going to be a real threat. I really believe that. He is a threat to change the America First narrative in the United States. But the one thing that we could be crystal clear about is that voting is not going to solve this problem. That's not how we're getting out of this predicament that we're stuck in right now. There's just no other conceivable way that we get out of this without there being a legitimate revolution. That's it. It's inevitable that it's coming. When the person who is considered the front runner of one of the two major parties to run for president in 2028, and he gets dog walked by the biggest Zio scum bastard in conservative media, why is he sitting down with him? Sit down with Tucker Carlson. Sit down with Candace Owens. Why in the hell are you sitting down with Ben Shapiro?
You have to, well, so he must have gotten like the memo. Maybe it was, you think that Gavin is in complete control of his production?
Zero.
You think that he has complete control over his content and what he puts on? Or do you think he has to kowtow to whoever his donors are?
He's got some big donors so
that's why he's talking to Shapiro.
Auntie Nancy's got a few things to say about that. So yeah, there are no surprises. Zero. And nor should there be. If you're enjoying this conversation so far, which we hope you all are, please consider going over to patreon.com/revolutionary change for as little as $5 a month. You can become a supporter of our small but mighty channel. And we've had quite a few super chats tonight. Let's roll them. Muhammad Dutafa. Thank you for becoming a member.
No, I think it's Muhammad.
Oh, Muhammad Otafa. Okay, Muhammad Otafa. Yes, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. Renee Salib, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. Really appreciate it. And the little cutie Patucci. Jim Talib with the $5 super sticker. Appreciate you, brother, as always. Steven Spates with the $2 super sticker. Appreciate you, my friend. Miley's channel with the £5. Thank you for checking in from across the pond. We really appreciate your support. Solid Mirage Vanguard with the $10. Contribute now to fund giant, impossible to ignore billboards in Times Square in DC exposing U.S. politicians in action on Palestine. Shine a daily spotlight on pro-Israel advocate. And then with the $5, Miriam Adelson and POS, controversial witches like her in the thumbnail. Truth confronts them for years. She knows there is no escape from the hereafter. Assuming the hereafter is coming, yes, it's not going to be good for her.
Speaking of billboards, we'll get to that in a minute.
And Solid Mirage Vanguard with the $20 contribution. Thank you very, very much. They scream against anti-Semitism and protests. Yet fellow Holocaust deniers' voices stay silent on Islamophobia and anti-Palestine hate. I hope a day comes when Heckler calls them out right there. What's their answer then?
That is why so many of the people like Debbie Wasserman Schultz, when they hold an audience, it's all vetted people so that doesn't happen. They're very, very protected.
You mean like the event that they did on Saturday for Martin Luther King Day when they took a selfie on stage and it was all white people in the photograph?
That thing glowed. Yeah.
It is what it is, guys. It is what it is. Guess at 82 with the $5. Gavin always platforms right-wingers, but is left ticked Charlie Kirk off. Well, listen, here's the thing. It's one thing to have right-wingers on your show. It's another thing entirely to just go right along with what they're saying. Which almost
maybe going on his show is the kiss of death. We'll see.
Here's hoping. Citizen Peñejo with the 50 pesos. Zios really can't tell how the world sees them, Jen. As punk 8-year-olds entitled to special treatment everywhere, superior to all, not just Browns. Yeah. That's how they see it. And our good friend, and make sure you subscribe to the Willie Bragg Show. Willie, thank you so very, very much for the $20 contribution. A former friend of mine who hates Gavin Newsom and views him as a far leftist was mad at when I said Gavin Newsom was actually too right-wing to me. Leftists do not veto Medicare for all. This oily snake salesman did. I'd say that's more than enough. Hey, we can't afford to pay for it. Oh, really? Of course you can. You just don't want to piss off your rich donor base, of which there just seems to be such a few that even, the other thing that they talked about in that interview, Jen, that we didn't even get to, he talked about the fact that he is dead set against that 5% taxing of the billionaire class.
Oh, I'm sure he is. Gavin?
Dead set.
He can't have that. That's his. Are you kidding me?
Miley's channel with the £5 again. Good night, guys. Keep up the good fight. Thank you for staying up with us, my friend. We really appreciate it. It is now.
You know what would be cool? You know what would be cool? Would be fun. Like, let's say that £5 could only be used if we went there. So, like, we'd have to go visit all these places to be able to, like, use all of the donations.
That would be sweet, but not likely. Gavin82 with the $5. I've heard Zionists argue like they're like blacks with liberation struggles and they built pyramids because they were slaves in Egypt. I've heard it too. I've heard them make that argument as well. They really believe that shit. Okay. Again, they are disconnected from reality, so I wouldn't expect anything less.
They're living according to the Charlton Heston 10 Commandments. You know what I'm saying? Like they're living in a very Hollywood lore situation of their perception in terms of the creation of the pyramids.
EBB with the $2 and the cutest profile picture of them all this evening. Look, Ma, 2 talking snakes. I agree with the little Poochie Poo. Absolutely. Drunken Boxing with the $5 Aussie. Love and good vibes from the river to the sea. May Palestine be free. Tate's 4242 with the $5. He's interviewing the next American president. I seriously doubt there's a real man left in this country. It's not looking too good. Not good.
Slim pickings.
Slim pickings. How do you say that? Rabashida? We? How would you say that, Jen?
I don't know. Robbie H. Sidawi?
Something
Robbie
like
H.
that.
Sidawi. Because I also think it's like a first, middle, initial, and last name possibility makes sense to me. So that's what I would say. I think it's Robbie.
Robbie, thank you for the 20 Aussie dollars. Very much appreciated. And Gavin82, I wanted Cornel West, true progressive.
I hear you.
Dr. West actually was in South Florida over the weekend, Jen. So
I'm sure he was not invited to the Miriam Adelson event.
Totally different event, but yes. Shatatan, thank you for being a member for 2 months. Viva Maduro, Viva Assad, Viva Khamenei. Sure looks that way. And finally, our trusted mod being a member for 8 months, free Palestine. Well, I suppose a lot of you in the chat are supporters of our channel, but also if you would be so kind, please take out your phones and click the QR code right over Jen's head or my head, wherever it lands.
And here's the thing, that code is for people to support our PAC. And when I saw somebody asking about billboards, it made me think about what we're working on right now. So guys, our primary candidate that we really want to help get over the finish line is Shama Sawant in Washington running for Congress. And one of the big things that we would like to do is get 5 billboards in her district, which is, it's good for the size district that is, and have them on constant loop against her incumbent, which is Adam Smith, who's a total Zio tool. And we are really hoping to raise $15,000 this month for that billboard project to really be able to make an impact in that district. So that's what we're working on. So please, if you can't, is it here?
Yep.
No, I think now it's here because I'm not in the studio, but I don't know.
And you could go to revolutionarychangepac.org and sign up to support. We really appreciate each and every one of you being here. And if you would be so kind, definitely give the PAC a look. Any contribution you make goes towards getting those billboards up for Shama in Washington's 9th Congressional District. I think she's got a great chance.
And what people need to understand, and as someone who has been a candidate, what she needs from a PAC is the stuff that she shouldn't have to do herself, right? So she shouldn't have to go negative. She doesn't. I mean, she states facts, but that's what we can do. We can be the constant presence that is reminding everybody in that district that their incumbent is a total Ziotool piece of shit for the 3 months prior to that race. And when that, and that is how we help Shama. She speaks for herself just fine. So that's how we contribute as a PAC.
Agreed. Now, for those of you who may or may not know who Jake Lang is, now, interestingly, I didn't know who he was until this event ended up coming across my timeline and learned about it. So here's the background on Jake Lang. Jake Lang is he is what you would consider a true far-right commentator, podcaster, if you will, who was at the Capitol on January 6th. He was prosecuted and he was pardoned. And he continues to do the rabble-rousing nonsense that one would expect from somebody like this guy. And here's what he said when he got to Minneapolis to show his love and support for the wonderful organization we call ICE and to go after the Somali community in Minneapolis.
City Hall will be burning Qurans, standing up against the Somali invasion of Minneapolis, the immediate deportation of Ilhan Omar, and the arrest of the scammer Tim Walz. Come join us 1 p.m. here, Minneapolis.
Yeah, he gets his ass handed to him on a platter. He wants to deport Ilhan Omar. Let me tell you, this
Elon.
pussy.
He called her Elon.
Whatever. This man here, and again, I use that term very loosely. This pussy would not last a day in Ilhan Omar's shoes in terms of what she has had to deal with in her life. A day in how she grew up and where she came from. He wants to deport her. Good luck with that.
You've also said that they mispronounce her names on purpose.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'm not saying that specifically in her case, but in cases like, yes, but white people have been doing that against, various ethnicities that are not white Anglo-Saxon names. They do that to have a sense of superiority, and it is absolutely supremacist. Now, I'm not saying there's not situations where there's a genuine attempt and failure, like on yours and my part, sometimes when we don't say names right. But when it's done intentionally, when it's easy, when they know better, there's a difference.
Now,
please take him down. He's gross.
I don't know what Jake thought he was getting himself into by hosting this rally, what I believe was at some town hall. And so here's what ended up happening, because the Antifa mob, or whatever you want to call it, got wind of what he was doing, and they set him pretty straight. And here is the end of what was happening when this guy got completely overwhelmed by this crowd.
It makes me so happy. So this really makes me, I need to work on my Christ consciousness a little bit better, okay? Because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, okay, if I were there and this was happening, now I would not participate in violence against this piece of shit, but I most certainly would not interfere on his behest either. And that is where I need to work on my Christ consciousness, because this gentleman here in the black hoodie, that's acting Christ consciousness, because this guy would probably wish him dead if he hasn't already. So, right. But he thinks he's going to help him anyway. See, that's a better person than me right there. That's what I'm acknowledging.
Clearly, and there were still photos caught of Jake basically crying and bloody. As you could see, he's got a bloody ear, and who knows what else happened to him as the crowd dragged him away. But you can see that he's scared. And you know what? You should be. You F around, you find out, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Jen, why is there such a desire to go after Ilhan Omar?
Because she's brown, wears a hijab, and is speaking truth to power? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know, actually, I think there is a photo that I think would be worth showing here. I think because he was taken to the hospital, and
that's a shame.
Well, I mean, you can say that it's a shame, but there is actually there's a very telling photograph. I want to see if I could get this in a clear shot, because if we can, I think it would be worth putting up. But it kind of says it all. You know, sometimes they say a photograph is worth 1,000 words. Damn you, computer, please operate properly. Thank you. That's better. Okay. So I'm going to show you guys exactly.
No, exactly. She did not marry her brother. That is stupid. It was never true. And it just one of those things that they put out there, just like all the rapes on October 7th. They put out a narrative. And then even when it is debunked, that narrative still is what takes root. Okay. When they talk shit about Ilhan Omar, it is false. And the reason it is because if there was anything truly legitimate, we would have heard that too.
Now, before I bring up before I display the photo, which I will do, this is the black gentleman who saved him from the rage mob.
Skin, right? Divine entity. Now, at the end of the day, my job. Way to be fucking brave and trying to fucking do something. Yeah, my job, you know, my purpose on earth, and my spirit told me, I'm the son of God, right? A lot of people gonna think I'm lying, and I just showed you again. They got you. It shows you again that I don't have to lie, but I move off love and unity, and that's how Jesus walked. If y'all Christians, that's how Yahweh walked. If y'all Africans and y'all
roots, saying, man, this guy's got Christ consciousness.
Showing love regardless of what somebody did to you. When they crucified him on the cross, he still forgave everybody for their sins, and they down there killed him. So it's like we can't treat hate with hate. Love overcome hate any day. When one motherfucker starts showing love, everybody show love. But if one person hate, everybody hate. It's a domino effect, just like a domino.
See, right. That's what I was saying. This man is my spirit animal. I aspire to have this level of Christ consciousness. For right now, I'm still wallowing in so much anger and rage that I just don't know that I'm going to be able to find that. But I aspire to this.
Well, the good news is that enough people basically just don't want to deal with this nonsense anymore. Let's, again, it's everything. It's cucking yourself to the state. But what it really shows you, ladies and gentlemen, more than anything else, and we could say this is a channel that knows that if we did things a certain way, we would continue to grow exponentially, all for the purpose of making money. And we do it for the right reasons. Whereas somebody like Jake Lang, like so many others, they just go wherever the clicks and the money comes from. If the clicks and the money says, go to Minneapolis, try to stir trouble with the Somalis, then that's what he's going to do. We are going to arrest Ilhan Omar. We're going to kick her out of this country for doing what?
For being a really good legislator.
This to me, I think, says everything. And so this gentleman, and as we've said before, is there Somali fraud? I have no doubt that there is. But again, you're saying,
what kind of question is there? Somali fraud? Is there Polish fraud? Is there Russian fraud? Is there Italian fraud? What the hell? Of course, there's fraudulent people of all ethnicities. And if you go to a part of a country that's predominantly one type of ethnicity, you'll find those criminal elements there too. Like, that's just so unbelievably racist to even present it that way.
Well, that's what they do.
That, but it was my job and my purpose.
We stole his watch.
Hey, let me see the watch. Hey, let me see the watch. Hey, hey, watch this. Hey, hey, come here, come here. Hey, someone come here, Mello. Hey, check it out. You, come here. Yeah, you, yeah. Yeah, so look, keep that on. At the end of the day, this what he came. I don't know what this shit is. A fake ass, what they call these watches? Out of my boutique. The world is fake. You hear me? All this shit is fake. Stop paying y'all money for this shit. You feel me? But that's the end of that, man. At the end of the day, just show love to anybody. No matter what they done to you, just show love.
You know what the amazing thing is? When we head for revolution as we're heading, this is a person who may very well be on the short end of the stick in life. Maybe he doesn't have a lot of money. Maybe his opportunities have been taken away from him because of the system that we live under. And yet there is this, I'm not going to allow the illicit actions of the powers that be who have made my life difficult get to me and let them get the best of me. I'm always going to take the higher road because I know that the higher road is for the people that truly care, not for the people who don't. What the hell does somebody who does somebody like Jake Lang care about?
Himself.
Jake Lang cares about himself. That's it. So they got his.
He sure as hell wouldn't have stopped to help this guy if it was reversed.
Yeah, that's the irony of it all. But here's the thing that I want people to understand. And this, to me, I think completely crystallizes why the hatred of those that have less than you or are perceived as weaker than you, you do not pick on them, because in the end, it will always come back and get you. And then perhaps even a moment of clarity might be possible in moments like this. This is the nurse tending to Jake Lang in the hospital. That man went there with the intention of trying to do harm to someone who looks like her.
Yes. Oh,
and
yeah.
now she's tending to him without asking questions.
Again, another person with infinitely better Christ consciousness than me. I really need to aspire for more people. I really do, because I'm sitting here and again, I'm married to a doctor, so I understand how they think in terms of this. Like, it's very instinctive that they, do no harm and they help whenever help is needed and they don't judge and all that. This is why I'm not in healthcare. This is why. When people say, when they meet my husband, say, "Oh, are you in healthcare too?" No, I don't like people enough to help them. And this woman having to do this for him, yeah, see, that wouldn't be me. I don't have it in me.
Well, I'm still perplexed as to this hatred towards the Somali community. Like, I'm still having a hard time understanding why people treat that. For the Somalis that we've met, and we've met quite a few, they seem like a very caring, considerate, hardworking community. Like, I don't understand this.
Well, the Somalis that we've met, they're Muslim, and they're very pious, practicing Muslims. So you're meeting people that have that mentality. So yeah, they're gonna take the high road. So it isn't necessarily that we've met Somalis, that we've met some Somali Muslims, which most of them are.
I mean, I'm getting to the point now where I'm just convinced beyond any doubt that there's just a lot of jealousy for particularly Muslims. I know they say that they hate them and they fear them and all this, but in truth, I think they're just jealous of them because Muslims are truly pious people in so many respects. They take their religion very seriously. Like, they try to live as Allah would command them to live. And I think that is something, especially Western Jews and Christians who look at that and are nowhere near as considerate. Like, could you imagine if the roles were reversed?
Oh, no.
I can't.
No.
I can't.
Again, I don't have this level of care. Like, it's not in me. Like, I wouldn't help him. I don't give a shit.
I understand that, but there are people out there.
Like, if I were walking past that crowd and I saw that happening, I wouldn't do shit. I wouldn't do shit. And a lot of cases where something might be going down where I would put myself on the line. Yeah, this isn't one of those things.
What's
So,
going to be
you know, good
interesting,
kudos to that guy who helped
Yeah.
him.
when he eventually makes his next video, it'll be interesting to see what he has to say about these people. Does he have an attack of conscience? Probably not, because his channel is dependent on him rage baiting his audience. But it'll be interesting to see how it unfolds. It will. He could have been killed that day. And he's probably lucky that he wasn't.
Yeah, and I would have been with that. I find I'm a very big fan of just sorting, let the universe handle itself, you know, and if I had walked upon that, I would consider that the universe handling itself.
I agree. I also think, and I understand where you're coming from, because in the end, it's one thing to help somebody who can't see the error of their ways, but maybe just needs a little bit of direction. And it's another thing entirely trying to help somebody who, if the roles were reversed, would definitely not help them.
But that would be the Christian thing to do, though. That's the point. That's my point. This is where I have to work on that a little bit. I don't know that I'll ever quite get to. And again, I'm not gunning for sainthood, so I don't have to work that hard. But I'm just saying, like,
You're
that
just hedging
would.
your bets. You're hedging
What?
your bets. You're hedging your bets.
I mean, that would be the Christian thing to do. And I just don't have that.
And
I
therein
don't have
lies
that. I don't have that turn the other cheek thing in a lot of cases. I just don't.
and therein lies the difference, because remember, now what you're seeing is you're seeing members of the Black Panther Party show up in Minneapolis with AK-47s. And everyone who's out there saying, "Oh, did you see that?" No, they're just exercising their Second Amendment rights. What's the matter? You like it when a blackie does it? Is that what the problem is? It's not going to end well. It's just not. You will not be able to.
Humongous shift. I was born right the first time, so I'm good. I was not born in Christ, but I am a Christ following atheist. That's how I would categorize. I'm a Christ following atheist.
You're doing a good job. Yeah, look, that's why, to the credit of the Black Panthers, this was the same thing that went down in the 1960s in California, and Governor Mr. Reagan had to change the laws and amend them carefully, so that way the Black community cannot walk around with AK-47s. We don't want that. The white man can do it, but not the black man. That's the way we've made it. But we'll see what happens. Credit where credit's due. And when you talk about why we speak out the way that we do against the injustices of the world, it's because somebody has to. Now, this was apparently a video that was taken a few months back that we were not aware of in the UK. This is in Wales. And I don't know if anybody, because we know we have people in the UK that are watching right now, if anybody can explain exactly where in Wales this took place, where the Zio scum decided to move these ancient rocks to form the Star of David, because of course they would fucking do something like that.
There's a lot of places in that part of the UK that have some old stuff.
Here we go. So they dismantle a cross, not just a bunch of rocks, because they want to form a Star of David. They take apart.
But wait. This is not the same thing as, like, let's say you are on a path walking and you come across somebody did a little design and it's just there and it'll get blown over eventually. So you just do your own thing with it. This is something that's been there, I believe, for like a couple hundred years. Like, this is something that means something to the people of this area. This isn't just a random person left it so you're redecorating. Okay? That's the arrogance of these people.
And yet we live in you see, the people who I hope see this are people that have been dragged into this insane world known as Christian Zionism, who are told by their bought-off pastors. Let me assure you something, ladies and gentlemen. Chaim Sabin and Miriam Adelson I guarantee you, spend millions upon millions of dollars a year funding these Christian pastors to espouse the message of Christian Zionism in support of Israel.
It's the coast of Swansea.
Wherever it is, it looks beautiful. And now it's being completely desecrated by these pieces of shit.
And Travers says this is a serious crime. So when Travers is over in the region, I think that, again, this isn't just any rocks that they found like on a beach and they're just redoing them. This is an actual monument, a meaningful place of, again, it's just so grotesque.
Could you explain, Travers, if at all possible, everybody in the chat, how old these rocks are, how old this formation is, how long it's been?
This isn't one of the ones, from my understanding, that's like Stonehenge, where it's like, we don't even know its origins. This isn't like that old, but it is old. It's like, I want to say it's been there for a long time and it was done by this community. Oh, stop it. But no, it's definitely, it has symbolism and meaning to that community, and it has been there for a long time. But no, it's not like ancient, like the Stonehenge and stuff like that. No, not in the shape of cloth.
I mean, you really have to have a set of balls on you, because keep in mind, this is another example of Zios behaving badly in other countries. This isn't Israel. Heck, it's not even Poland. Where most
Humongous shift. I'm from where you're living. I'm from there. So I feel your pain.
I mean, that really, like, that's.
This is like the people, honestly, but what this is to me, when I go into how 1,000 years old. Okay. So it's old, but this, what they're doing goes back to where it is known how it was formed, as opposed to a lot of the other stone formations that we don't really know how they were formed. Yeah, no, but Stonehenge is very questionable in terms of how it was created. I was there, and I have a lot of questions that can't be answered.
Well, the aliens brought it here, Jen. That's how it happened.
I don't know how it went, but it is not from regular people building it.
Sure.
So this is not that, is my point. This is obviously something that we know what was done here, but them doing this is how I feel when I go into like a national park or to some sort of place that's on a historic register, and some place that's like a thing of beauty, and people graffiti on it. Okay. Yeah. Or people carve their initials into beautiful trees. Don't do that to the trees. Don't do that to the trees. This is that kind of thing. It's like their level of entitlement to destroy something of value to somebody else without any regard whatsoever. That's a hallmark of their ethnicity, if you will. That's who they are. It's gross.
It is a reminder of what they will do, because they have for the longest time been convinced that they can't be touched, that they can get away with whatever they want. And then you see somebody like Lil Ben Shapiro dog walk the presumptive nominee for president of the United States in the Democratic Party. And they're like, oh, of course.
Man with long last name, I say ethnicity sarcastically. I say that I agree 1,000%. When I say Israeli ethnicity, it's sarcastic. They're not real. That's like being born in Disney World. It's not real.
Well, that's why the complete irony of Miriam Adelson, the richest, most powerful Zionazi of them all, was born in Palestine. It's on her birth certificate. It is on Wikipedia. And no matter what she does, no matter how much money and power and corruption she throws at it, it's never going to change. Her whole life is a lie, and it should be regarded as one. All the ill-gotten gains that she and Sheldon Adelson made all those years, you'll never be able to shake it, ever.
Okay, so now Johnny Nobody Knows Us says it was there for 50 years. That sounds more like what I thought it was, but it doesn't even, that's really beside the point. Is it was purposeful and intentional by the people of that place who have loved it and wanted it that way. That's the whole point.
Colin, can you grab me that story real quick of the Judo Israelis? Now, if you think that's behaving badly, this is another one that went under the radar that not a lot of people are talking about. But we're going to talk about it from the stop anti-Semitism perspective, because what have we learned, Jen, about Leora Tal and all of these Zio scummies? What have we learned? Whatever they say,
What do you mean?
believe the opposite.
Oh, well, yeah, they lie every time they open their mouths.
Israeli youth judo team removed from Polish tournament after alleged anti-Semitic harassment. So let me get this straight. You're telling me that an Israeli youth team was removed from a tournament in Poland, mind you, where apparently that you would think that they would be at home, because that's really home, for anti-Semitic harassment? No. We know what happened. There were people competing. They saw the Israelis. They told them to go fuck themselves. We don't want to compete against you. And then they started fisticuffing with them. The Israelis didn't like it. So naturally, they got kicked out. But let's hear what Combat Anti-Semitism movement had to say. An Israeli youth judo delegation was reportedly removed from a tournament in southern Poland on Saturday after being, this is not this weekend, this is last weekend. On Saturday, after being targeted with anti-Semitic chants. The incident took place during a judo competition in the city of Bielsko-Biala, where about 90 Israeli athletes aged 7 to 16 from 3 clubs had traveled to compete. Embassy warns of anti-Semitic harassment. The Israeli embassy in Poland said it was deeply concerned by reports of abuse directed at the Israeli delegation, adding that there is no place for violence or anti-Semitic slurs of any kind, particularly in sport, which should promote respect, fairness, and cooperation among
Because that's how they approach things.
while we commit genocide. We are deeply concerned by the violent incident yesterday against the Israeli judo team. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, keep going, Colin. According to accounts cited in Polish media, spectators shouted hostile slogans throughout the day. Chants were said to have included "Free Palestine!" Jen, if anybody shouts "Free Palestine," I'm going to have a heart attack. And I'm going to cry. And I'm going to scream anti-Semitic behavior, and I'm going to demand a lawsuit. If Columbia University could sue for that amount of money, I can sue too. And look, the Jews are coming. Yeah, they are. A witness told 24/7 Sports that the taunts continued during matches and distracted even the youngest competitors. As the shouting persisted, 2 Israeli coaches approached the referees and asked them to intervene. Hey, do something about this. No, they're within the legal lines. They can do what they want. Witnesses say the situation then escalated. A group of around 12 local men allegedly confronted the coaches and physically attacked them in front of the young athletes and spectators. Yeah, I doubt that's how it went down. Organizers then removed the entire Israeli delegation from the competition. The team returned to its hotel and stayed there due to safety concerns.
Good.
Conflicting accounts from Polish officials. Local authorities and tournament officials dispute the Israeli account. Of course they do, because how do you know an Israeli is lying?
Their lips are moving.
A statement published in the Bielsko-Biala municipal website claimed an Israeli coach reacted aggressively to a referee's decision.
Shocking.
The statement said the coach entered the competition area, shouted insults, and made physical contact with the referee. How much you want to bet that that's what went down? And then 12 local men from the area saw this Israeli coach attacking the referee and decided to step in and take matters into their own hands. I would say that's the much more likely scenario that took place, Jen.
Yes, absolutely. I don't need to, first of all, just knowing that it's from the Combat Anti-Semitism movement, just know that you're not getting anything remotely unbiased. But yeah, I mean, the past history is the best predictor of future, behavior. And I would say that we tend to see these people be the animals and the instigators. So I'm going to say that's exactly what happened here.
Organizers contacted police and disqualified the Israeli team, according to that account. Spokesperson for the Bielsko, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Bielsko police confirmed that police spoke with those involved. He said officers noted physical contact but received no formal complaints. The parties later dispersed without charges. The Israeli embassy, however, urged Polish authorities to investigate the incident thoroughly and guarantee the safety of Israeli athletes at international events. How about you just stay home for however much longer that home lasts? The case has renewed concern about anti-Semitic hostility at sporting events, particularly when it targets children. Hey, you target Palestinian children. Isn't it fair game at that point? Kinda. No independent findings have yet reconciled the sharply different versions of events. The incident remains under scrutiny as tensions continue to affect Jewish and Israeli participation in sports across Europe. I think that's it.
Yeah. Good. That's how they need to be treated everywhere they go, all around the world. And yeah, it's going to close in on them. And here's hoping. And it cannot happen soon enough.
I like how they actually had the audacity to put both storied accounts out there and thinking that the people were not going to believe the latter instead of the former.
Nobody believes them, their own people.
Yeah, the 12 local Polish guys and of course, you know how big they get in Eastern Poland, like how big, Polish men can be. So you really think that they just waltzed right up to the Israeli and started to physically attack them? Right. Or was it something that the Israeli did first? You know what was actually happening there, ladies and gentlemen? You know what was happening? The crowd was chanting Free Palestine and they lost their minds.
Is that true?
That's what they were doing. They were chanting Free Palestine.
Okay.
And so the Israelis naturally didn't like it, told the referees, you better do something about it. They're like, what do you want us to do? They're expressing their freedom of speech, I guess, if that exists in Europe. And then he decided, like a lot of Israelis tend to do, is they like to put hands on people.
Yes.
So then the guys in the stands saw what they were doing and they said, oh, you're not doing that shit.
Again, there's certain places, certain countries where they're going to try their nonsense and they're going to really get put in their place, which is good. They need to be put in their place, which is hopefully far, far away from me.
We'll conclude with this little doozy, which brings us back home to South Florida. The Zios are going to continue to migrate, if you will, into South Florida. Little Israel will commence in South Florida between Palm Beach, Broward, and especially Miami-Dade County. This is an example of why free speech is dying in the United States. I mean, it's been dead for a while, but this is just a pretty good example of why that's the case.
Make sure it's you. We're not sure.
Okay.
Is that your account?
I refuse to answer questions without my lawyer present. So I really don't know how to answer that question either.
Well, like I said, you're not going to jail.
This is freedom of speech. This is America, right?
And
veteran.
And I agree with you 100%.
Okay.
We're just trying to see if it's you, because if we're not talking to the right person, we want to go see who the right person is.
Okay, how can I help you?
So pretty much it's just a statement that was made as far as
verbatim, it says the guy who consistently calls for the death of all Palestinians tried to shut down a theater for showing a movie that hurt his feelings and refuses to stand up for the LGBTQ community in any way. Even leaves the room when they vote and on related matters. Wants you to know that you are all welcome. Clown face, clown face, clown face. 3 days ago.
You don't know?
This is like what they did to me when they showed up and wanted to talk about my posts. This is absurd that this is For people who think that law enforcement is necessary, that we need them to keep us safe, please know that this is how they're spending their time. This is what law enforcement is doing. These two gentlemen, because you need two of them, they both are being paid. And that is tax dollars, mind you. These gentlemen are being paid by this woman's tax dollars to go around and oversee people's social media postings.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we need. That's what law enforcement is doing.
I mean, to the cops' credit, their attitude is basically, look, we don't want to be here any more than you don't want us here. Trust us.
Then they shouldn't sign up to be stormtroopers, I guess, then, huh?
It pays very well in Miami Beach.
If it was you?
I'm not going to answer whether that's me or not.
Okay.
The concerning part, and not concerning for the person who's posting it, what we're just trying to prevent is somebody else getting agitated or agreeing with the statement. We're not saying it's true or not. That guy who consistently calls for the death of all Palestinians, that can probably incite somebody to do something radical. That's all we're here to talk about. And we wanted to get your side. If it was you that posted that, I would think to refrain from posting things like that, because that could get something incited.
I appreciate your concern. I appreciate you coming out here.
Okay?
That's it?
That is it.
Okay.
I'm going to maintain my my amendment rights to not answer the question about whether or not that's right. I hope that's understandable.
Right. We appreciate it.
Thank you as well.
Okay?
You as well.
Okay, guys, Defense Law 101. She never should have engaged with them at all in a conversation whatsoever. There's no reason to. There's no reason to talk with those people at your door. None. No warrant, no talk. And that's just like, she was nice enough to even engage with them. I recommend against that. If anybody comes to your house of any branch of law enforcement and they don't have a warrant, you have nothing to say. And if they do have a warrant, the only thing that you say is lawyer. That's it.
And what's even more amazing is that she said lawyer and they kept going.
Because she didn't demand a lawyer. She just said, well, I'm not going to speak without my lawyer. She just made a statement. And if you don't say it exactly, I am invoking my right to counsel. Right? Like you have, because otherwise they'll talk around and say, well, she didn't really demand a lawyer. She simply said she wouldn't talk without a lawyer. So this is the thing. So if you're questioned by police at your home, the only thing you say, lawyer. No, I wouldn't open the door. No warrant, no open door. I wouldn't open the door. Now, this woman felt safe to open the door from a perspective if she knew this wasn't an ICE situation.
No,
and this is not somebody that's avoiding that right. So she was
it's
like,
Miami Beach. It's Miami Beach. They have nothing better to do. That's the problem.
I answered the door. I opened the door. You don't step outside and you do not invite them in. I opened the door. They wanted to speak with me about a post. I smiled. I said, no, thank you. And I shut the door. That's it.
But
now, if they had come back with a warrant, then we would get into lawyer. They would get that much.
This is why we have to nip this in the ass now. We cannot keep waiting. We must continue to spread this word around, and everyone needs to see this stuff, because if we don't, by the time we finally get our act together and deal with this Zio scum bullshit, it'll be too late. But this is why the whole conversation comes full circle from the beginning of the show when we talked about Miriam Adelson and Hayam Sabine. Money talks and justice walks. I don't like what this person said on Facebook. I want you to go over there and intimidate them. Sir, is that really necessary? Yes, it is.
Yep.
Where we run the show here. That's what's going to happen. Everyone is going to eventually move out of Miami. That's what's going to happen. They're going to move out of South Florida. And the Zionists are going to have their little country. That's what they're going to have. They can have exactly what they have in upstate New York, only they don't have to be religious. But who are they going to get to work for them, I think, is the bigger question. Hopefully nobody. Maybe they'll actually learn an honest day's work for a change. We'll see.
Okay. Eros, This is how people, you know what, for people like this is why we need lawyers, okay? Or saying, nah, you can say whatever the fuck you want to say, just don't be stupid about it. Opening your mouth to speaking is automatically being stupid about it. I'm telling you, anything you say will be twisted in a way that you didn't say it. Do not speak to the police. Don't speak to them. Don't engage with them. Don't converse. There's nothing that you need to speak with them about. Nothing. They are not there to help you in any way, shape, or form. That's what I know. So, yeah.
Well, my decision to do so led to us figuring out that, yeah, it is the same. You know, as
yes,
they say,
but if we didn't know that, we would live our lives just fine, and you run the risk of getting in trouble. So it's not worth it.
But at the same time, it proves our point that it's always the same people. So that is why our channel is devoted to dealing with this issue, because it is the issue of our time. It is all connected to the fracturing of our economic and political system. It is the fracturing of international positioning, why BRICS has grown so exponentially. Israel has as much to do with it as anything. So keep in mind, the two largest donors in the United States for the two major parties when it comes to the pro-Israel cause are not Americans. So keep that in mind. And let every fucking person you know that thinks that this is acceptable discourse, if you find that Ro Khanna just went along with the $3.3 billion extension for Israel funding the other day on that bill. Goodbye, Ro. There is no excuse. No more. No excuses.
Which is why none of them have a chance for anything, because they're all so compromised. Ro is the least compromised of any of their potential people in terms of honor or integrity. He's the least compromised person on that list. Correct. And he doesn't have a chance. So, yeah.
With that being said, we appreciate you all being here this evening. And one more time, patreon.com/revolutionary change for as little as $5 a month. You can become a supporter of our small but mighty channel. It's still suppressed as hell, but you guys are tremendous in your support, and we really appreciate it. Libertarian Social Dem 3-month member. Here is the elephant in the room. Are politicians like Gavin Newsom and Ted Cruz allowed to do a podcast instead of doing their job they were elected to?
Absolutely.
Hey, that's much more important. Because it's not they're not public servants. They're entertainers. This is entertainment.
Again, you know what they say about politics.
It's Hollywood for ugly people.
Yes. And not that Gavin Newsom is ugly, because he isn't. He's a good-looking guy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Zero Gods, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. We really appreciate it. Libertarian Social Dem with the $1.99. Ron DeSantis and Greg Abbott compete for Islamophobia. Yes, they do. But you know what? I don't know if Governor Abbott has made the pilgrimage to Israel. DeSantis has done it twice.
Well, he sure as hell isn't walking it. So there's that.
He's got to figure out what the hell he's going to do, because he's almost finished. He's going to be out. When is he out? He's out in November.
All right, Brett, enough with the Rathbone. We get it. You're unhappy with Rathbone. Whatever your beef is, yeah, stop. Enough. We get it.
Rathbone's our boy. We love him. So yeah,
Brett has his knickers in a twist over something that happened there.
Gang Green Thumb with the $5 donated to billboards. I love Shama, and we love you, and we love Shama. Thank you very much for your support. Citizen Pendejo with the 50 pesos again. FYI, Jen, Jake GTV demolished both Nick Shirley and Jake Lang with his 2 latest videos. Jake is a one-channel demolition crew. Hey, we would collab with Jake GTV. Why not?
I've never watched them.
Gezin82 with the $2. Thank you, Jen. I agree. Well, Jen has her very loyal supporters.
I have my moments.
Splash Ken Berger with the $5. Your patience is better than mine, Jen. If I came into contact with Zios as often as you do, I'd be locked up by now.
This is why I moved. This is a big reason why I moved. I'm concerned for other people's safety.
That's very Christ-like.
Well, I know that I have my limitations, and I'm aware of my limitations, and I'm concerned. And I also know that, like, when I break my getting arrested cherry, it's not going to be for one of those pieces of shit. It'll be for something a lot more substantive than going after some Zio tool. So I just don't need to tempt fate.
Just so you guys know, Jen will be in Washington, D.C. at the dawn of spring. If you're expecting a moment where Jen might end up in a pair of cuffs where I'm going to have to help her out, that's when it's going to happen.
What makes you think you're not wearing cuffs right next to me in the paddy wagon, friend?
Yeah, you know what I hate? I hate the fact that if I'm there with you, you're going to be like, hey, if you're arresting me, you're arresting him too. You're not letting him get away.
I do not sell people out like that. I'm not scared of any of that stuff. I just, got to get your ducks in a row.
And finally, Gezin82 with the $5. MLK and KKK, both Christians, different interpretations. F the Bible, easily twisted. I agree. It is easily twisted. And that is why on a day like today, let us remember what the true legacy of Dr. King really was when he was assassinated in April of 1968. What was his legacy at that time? There were people that were thrilled that he was killed. One of the people, unfortunately, who was very happy and did not like him one bit was Jackie Kennedy. That's a piece of history that people don't like to talk about. You see, the problem for Dr. King isn't that he was for racial equality.
No.
It's that he was for economic equality.
Yes, and we can't have that.
We can't have that. We cannot have investment in Gary, Indiana, instead of the north side of Chicago. We cannot have investment in Watts and Compton and Inglewood when the investment must go to Bel Air and Hollywood and Beverly Hills. And that same trait is repeated all throughout the United States. Redlining, blockbusting. It went on for generation after generation. It is still very difficult for those in certain communities to be able to make it out. Brett, I'm not going to take that shit. I wasn't calling you out. I wasn't saying anything. If that's
he might have already left. He's pissed. I don't. Obviously, something really went down with him with Rothbone. I don't know.
I don't know what went down. I like Rothbone, but if you're going to take it out on me and make this into a big thing, hey, I can't help you, man. I don't know what the hell happened or what it is, but you want to take it out on us now? Hey, have at it, man. Appreciate you helping the channel, but I'm not going to take that shit. And that is the thing about being revolutionary, is that either you can put differences aside and accept the fact that there are people on your side that you're not always going to agree with, or we can continue to splice this up and just make it into, well, I don't like this person, so I'm not going to figure out how to make things work. That's not how it works. Now, if somebody wants to explain what happened.
It has something to do with he apparently misstated or lied. I don't know what happened about the numbers that were needed for a lot or something. I don't know. I've been watching the nonsense and I don't really care, but it's just apparently a very big point of contention in the chat. So whatever.
Well, I'm sorry to hear it, guys. It is what it is. Bottom line, Dr. King, when his message was economic focused, that's when the most people took interest in his message. And that's when the powers that be decided that he needed to be made an example of. You see, that was the difference between Martin and Malcolm. You see, Malcolm never messed with the fact that it was always an economic message, and he got clipped 3 or 4 years prior. Dr. King thought he could do it a different way, and for a while it was working.
I have some Malcolm clips.
Right now?
Well, I just have them. They're just sitting there. They're always there.
Sure.
But, I mean, I'm not sure which one this is. Let's see what this one is.
Take equality first. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad doesn't teach us to associate equality with whites. Equality has nothing to do with whites. We don't want to be equal with the white man. He's not the criteria or yardstick by which equality is measured. He's not in a position to tell us we are equal. It's not his right. It's not his to do. Equality, we want equality. We had equality before the white man was created. We had equality before the white man came into existence. And we want equality whether the white man is on this earth or not.
I love that. And the reason that that's important is we all look at it like what the whites are willing to give to the blacks, what we're willing to share with them. We're willing to give them equality. The level of self-importance to think that that's yours to give is the whole level that we're talking about. So, yes, equality is not a white person's thing to give. And they don't want to be equal to us. That's not what they don't aspire to be equal to us. In all reality, we're faded black people. We're just faded black people. So I don't know what people think, like that they aspire to be equal to us. They aspire to be faded. I don't think so.
And you have one of Martin?
No. I said I have a Malcolm X. I have they're over in the media assets. I have a few Malcolm clips. I have a Huey P. Newton clip.
But I do believe it also goes to show you that we didn't have. Oh well, yeah. I think that we could also play this other one because again, the thing that truly got Dr. King killed was he found his Malcolm X. He became the person that truly was revolutionary. That's why he got upended. That's why Bobby Kennedy got upended. That's why Malcolm got upended. Yes. It was a different time. It's a lot different to do it now. And as I said, technology, it's our greatest asset and it's our greatest detriment at the same time.
Will cause black people to stick together. And then at that point, you'll have a situation where when you attack one black man, you are attacking all black men. And this type of black thinking will cause all black people to stick together. And this type of thinking also will bring an end to the brutality inflicted upon black people by white people. And it is the only thing that will bring an end to it. No federal court, state court, or city court will bring an end to it. It's something that the black man has to bring an end to himself.
All power to the people.
Dr. King was somebody whose message was nowhere near as appreciated in his time as he was as a martyr.
Oh my God, he was considered a terrorist.
Yeah. As a martyr, he was regarded as somebody who the powers that be could control what type of an image he was creating. Throughout history, as many of you have probably come to surmise, it was always about racial equality. History always talks about his fight for racial equality. What you never hear about, and I mean ever, is his fight for economic equality.
Well, what was he doing in Memphis? Remember?
What was the union that he was there with? I forget.
The trash collectors.
Trash collectors. He was there with Jesse
or sanitation workers. I think it was sanitation
workers who were on strike, and he was there to support their efforts. But you know, James Earl Ray, you keep believing that one.
His own family never bought that narrative from the beginning. Because they knew. Poor People's March. Exactly. That was the whole point of what Martin Luther King was doing, was the Poor People's Campaign. He had already had civil rights. The Civil Rights Act was already passed. That wasn't what got him killed.
Just as tall, and this is who
Why I've got Malcolm clips, and I don't have any MLK clips. I only have Malcolm clips.
The difference is that Malcolm, the big difference between Dr. King and Malcolm is that Malcolm accepted that he was going to be a martyr. He knew that he was going to get killed. And he didn't mince words. He really didn't. But it really is amazing, Jen, how many things happened under LBJ's watch. It's amazing how many things happened that were positive under JFK's watch. And it's amazing how many things went in the opposite direction when the shit kicker from Texas became the president of the United States.
And why is that? That was why.
because one person was fiercely loyal to Israel and the state, and the other wasn't. And that's how you got what you got. Dr. King's legacy lives on if you treat it the way that it's supposed to be treated. Yeah, we have a day off. That's nice. How about single-payer health care, labor unions' ability to negotiate contracts, living wage, clean water and air?
You're talking crazy talk.
I'm talking real crazy talk. How about no redlining and blockbusting? How about that? That'd be nice. I've had plenty of black neighbors in my life. Not really a problem. It's a problem if you make it a problem. You know what is the biggest cause of violence and despair in society? What is that, Jen? What's the biggest cause?
Poverty.
Yeah, that's the answer. We know what the problem is. We know how to solve it. And we have reached the point where revolution is going to become an inevitability.
I love Navy EOD vet when people throw me and Peter in the same age category together. Like, you two are so young. It's so nice. And I do appreciate that. I do know, well, Peter knows a lot about history about that time period in particular. And I was not alive in the 60s, so that is true. But I do like when you and I get lumped together as both being so young.
For those of you in the chat who keep talking about Brett, I'm not mad at Brett at all.
Nobody's mad other than Brett. Brett's mad, obviously, because we're not understanding why he's in a tizzy about Rathbone.
All I said was that we love Rathbone here. That's all.
I know. He's obviously, yeah.
See, Jen, you are young. Peter, I don't know.
Peter's younger than me by 12 years. I got 12 years on him.
Thanks, Mom.
Ugh.
You asked for that one.
So gross.
You asked for that.
Yeah,
one.
he's mad at us. We do love Brett. I don't know what he's mad.
He's Canadian.
All right, whatever.
If you can't laugh at it, if you can't have a joke about it, then what can you do? It's what it is. Smash that like button, share, subscribe, do all those things that we ask you to do. Jen, who do we have on Thursday?
I believe it's the rabbi, or is it? Wait, hold on.
I believe it's Rabbi Yaakov Shapiro.
Yeah, I believe it's the rabbi. Yes, it's the rabbi. So people have been asking on multiple occasions in our chat for us to explain the Talmud, because there's been a lot of talk of that lately about that Talmud following Jews are the ones that are the problem and all this stuff. And we are going to get that all figured out and make it so that we all understand.
Dude, you gotta chill out. If you think I'm going to call you after you say F you, Peter, I mean, come on, man. What the heck? I'm not like, thank you for helping the channel. But for the love,
I don't know, man. That's a little extra. That's a little dramatic.
Like that's
all right. So we are going to be talking to Rabbi Yaakov Shapiro. He will be, yes, the good Shapiro. We will be really getting a good explanation as to Torah, Talmud, what the problem is, why it's being taken out of context, all of that stuff. Because the truth is, when you start talking about sick, evil, twisted shit in religious doctrines, it's in all of them. You could find that in all those places. You really can. And we also will be speaking later this month with John Fugelsang about a lot of the crazy Bible verses that people take too seriously and all sorts of stuff.
Well, I would definitely say that that's probably an interesting.
Good.
Sure. Hey, listen, Jimmy gets some big people. There's no two ways about it.
Oh my God,
our friends over.
Dad joke.
What's that?
Travers just made the ultimate dad joke. Travers.
Oh, that's great. So smash that like button, share, subscribe, do all those things we ask you to do. We will learn about the Talmud on Thursday. We'll see you then.
Free Palestine.
Good night, guys.